I've been rambling all around. I know trouble's coming, 'cause sorrow's all that I found. Many days I took for granted, how I wish I could turn back time. I can't ask to move the mountain, so just give me the strength to climb. I need your love, pretty darling. Said I've got to have all of your love. I need it so much, and it's strange how you got me feeling this way. I need your love, pretty baby. Said I got to have all of your love. I need it so much, and it's strange how you got me feeling this way. I need your love. I need it so much, and it's strange how you got me feeling this way. I need your love.
I love that song. What a way to wrap up the Summit Lunch Hour today. Some old school, throwback, Texas-style Americana sounds. Charlie Crockett with his latest, I Need Your Love. That's off his new record, Music City, USA. And, you know, I sort of didn't realize this till I looked it up. He's released, like, I don't know, 6 albums in the last 7 years or something, maybe even more than that. He's been very prolific, has been this Charlie Crockett. Before that, from 1967, Brenton Wood with Gimme a Little Sign. Some feel-good music for a Friday. I'm Chad Miller with more on the way next hour, including next hour, your final chance to win concert tickets to see Shaky Graves at the Agora in Cleveland on December 8th. Final chance to win coming up next hour, courtesy of AEG, so that is on the way. Also music coming from In Excess. A local music spotlight from the Lighthouse and the Whaler, a Cleveland band that's getting a bit of a national push. Also Elvis Costello, Cold War Kids' latest. Anna Nalick from about 15 years ago, one of those one-hit wonders. All that on the way, but first we'll close out the Summit Lunch Hour with this new song from Irish singer-songwriter Orla Gartland. Her latest called You're Not Special, Babe, right here on the Summit.
If you could see yourself from the outside in, you say you don't have to be more thin. It's okay. And if you could see yourself from above the sky, I think you'd say that you're doing fine. Life is short until it's not. Honestly, it's kinda long and it takes a while to come around. People always let you down. Find the ones that get you. Stick to them like hot glue. Dance if you want to. 'Cause you're not special, babe. I know you feel like your life is one big mistake. Let me check my mic.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Shirley's High School in today's Murphy Family Investment Presentation Ceremony. My name is Mickey Claret.
And I'm Peyton Shorthouse.
And we are both members of the Digital Media Program and members of Student Council. We are here today to come together and honor the Murphy family, a family from our hometown who decided to give back to our community. Bruce Murphy, class of 1971, Raymond Murphy, class of 1970, and Jill Murphy Santos, class of 1990, have blessed us and decided to donate funds to our school digital media facilities and towards our scholarships.
The Murphy family has decided to donate this money to honor family members who have attended our very own school, Calvin, Ernest, Vince, and Philip Murphy, all who have passed on. These members of the Murphy family, who will always be considered Wildcats, excelled in sports and went on to win many championships in football, basketball, track, and made many all-star teams. Several went on to play sports in college or attend trade schools, leading to successful careers, which is impressive to just about anyone.
The funds the Murphy family donated will be used in 2 areas. They are donating $15,000 to upgrade the facilities in our digital media program, and another $15,000 to provide $1,000 scholarships for the next 15 years to successful minority students. Again, we are incredibly thankful and honored to even receive this much money towards our school.
Now, without further ado, we would like to turn this over to Mr. Perron, our superintendent.
Good afternoon. On behalf of our Board of Education, members present today, Ron Shives, Mary Carcelli, and Pat Bundy, our treasurer, Ryan Seen, our high school administration, Roger Day and Marianne Meadows, I would like to welcome everyone to the Murphy Family Investment presentation. A special welcome to the Murphy family, the Struthers School Foundation for Educational Excellence, our mayor, and other special guests present today. Growing up in Struthers, there are many family names that are well known throughout our community. The Murphy family is certainly one of those. We welcome all of their family and friends here today. Special welcome to Bruce and his wife Michelle, Jill, who unfortunately was unable to make it today, and Vernon Murphy. Today we are here to honor Calvin, Ernest, Philip, and Vincent. Vincent is a 1967 graduate and played on the Struthers basketball and baseball teams. He attended Central State University and earned a degree from the University of Wisconsin. Vincent's employment history includes social work at Lake County Department of Human Services and Services of Independent Living. Calvin is a 1970 graduate of Struthers High School and excelled in football, basketball, and track. Calvin earned a basketball scholarship to Erie Community College and Kent State, earning degrees at both institutions. After years of work experience in Ohio and Nevada, Calvin started his own business as an independent safety consultant, where he consulted on the national OSHA standards in all 50 states. Ernest is a 1973 graduate where he participated in football and excelled in track, throwing the shot put and discus. Ernest was employed by the Nelson Tree Company, Barron Murray Roofing, and he was an avid fisherman. Philip is a 1978 Struthers graduate and a 1982 graduate of Allegheny College, where he excelled in basketball. In fact, Philip is in the Hall of Fame at Struthers and Allegheny for basketball. He worked at the Mahoning County Children's Services for 30 years while earning 2 master's degrees. Philip was a professor at both Youngstown State University and Kent State University. Personally, I had the opportunity to meet Philip and work with Philip when I was a freshman basketball player, moved up to the JVs, and Philip was a volunteer coach at Struthers. I want to personally thank the Murphy family for their generous donation. Your generosity will not only benefit our digital media program and current students, it will have a long-lasting impact for years to come. Your passion for education, commitment to our students, vision to pay it forward, and love of our hometown is duly noted. Thank you. Now I'd like to invite Bruce Murphy up to say a few words.
Well, good afternoon. I am overwhelmed by the reception. The idea that we can come back where it all began, and pay not just our money, but to pay our talent. As you look at our bios, I am very proud that we have been as successful as we are. And there's a reason for those successes. My cousin Vernon, who's with me today, he is by far, you will hear shortly, one of the more proficient and capable speakers, because he's been on the speaking trail for a long time. In fact, he had more hair when he started. And he's here. He came from Chesapeake, Virginia, and he brought with him the best of who he is, his wife, Judy, and a daughter, Sean Marin. Sean Marin, by the way, who is a senior and beginning to do her search in colleges. She's also a track athlete. She has never gotten anything less than an A ever in her career. I think that deserves some applause. She is interested in biomedical engineering. But she is someone who exemplifies something that I'll talk about here in a minute. But we as a family learned how to compete. We learned from our fathers. We learned from our coaches. My father was the first African American and only African American ever elected to public office here in the city of Struthers. By the way, he came into office at the same time as Mr. Pompey's father, who was, I think, was it the 4th Ward, Chucky? 3rd Ward? And they were compatriots on a mission to change some of the elements that existed in this city. We ended up having lots of people who poured into our lives. You know, my father, as I said, was the first councilman. He was also the first African-American basketball player at Struthers. He was also the first and only union president, Local 2162, ever. There were things that he taught us. You know, being first is not always the easiest road. Being first is oftentimes the toughest road. But he taught us 2 things, perseverance and discipline. He would always say to us, it doesn't matter who opposes you. They may not like you because of your color. They may not like you because of where you live. They may not like who you hang out with. And they will oppose you for those things. But opposition is not an excuse for failure. He expected you to figure it out. He would say oftentimes, deal with it. Deal with it. Deal with it. And sometimes you go over it. Sometimes you go around it, and sometimes you got to go through it. But the opposition never goes away. Life is full of opposition. And it is how you choose to respond to opposition that matters most. The opportunity that I had and Vernon had is that we played together. We played together. Vernon, Victor, Calvin, Mr. Turner, Art Turner here, Chucky, we played together. We went through it together. And so the term that I think is most relevant is perseverance. perseverance. You cannot give up. You cannot be turned around. You have to figure a way, deal with it. The other term I would use is discipline. Discipline. You know, I can still hear ringing in my ears when Coach Cummings, Santillo, Coach Hartzell, Coach Capone, they would say, run it again, do it again, do it again. And what they were saying is you got to perfect your craft. You can't just decide that it's too tough. And so, okay, it didn't work, so I didn't execute well, but do it again. I mean, it was a way of life that we as a group of student athletes used in every other thing that we ultimately did. You know, this school has produced some outstanding graduates, African American graduates. I'm looking at Art Turner, who didn't go to college right away. He went to work for General Motors. But in General Motors, he decided that he wasn't going to work on the line for the rest of his life. And he made choices, and he went and got his degree. Perseverance. I'm looking at Commander Darrell Vaughn. This brother graduated from the Naval Academy. The Naval Academy. The Naval Academy. First, getting in is a chore. But then the reality is, what do you do with it? And he has, in fact, created a career outside of it. I see Sonia here, who it's amazing to me. She was just a little baby. Grown lady and has a daughter who is at Spelman, is that correct? Oh, see, one graduated from Spelman and one there. So, I mean, you know, again, there is success here. So I stand here, I want people to know that people who look like me, have been successful despite the challenges, despite the opposition. And so I'm so proud to say that I'm from Struthers. Some people don't always take that as a compliment. For me, it's a badge that I am able to wear with great pride. And so I'm also a minister, so you guys could be here for another hour if I get a couple amens out there. So I'm going to turn this over to my other half. Now let me back up. Let me back this up. Let me back way up. So my wife of 46 years. 46 years. See, it can be done, young folks. You know, the divorce rate is over 50% today. People give up too soon. They don't persevere. They don't work their craft. They don't know how, so what we don't know how to do in relationships is to say it's not about me, it's about you. We don't know how to do that because it's always about me. And when it's always about me, it doesn't work. So my wife, who started her academic career here in Struthers, she went to Highland Avenue, and she moved away. And I like to say she moved away, but she didn't get away. So she is clearly someone who is a significant part of this. And then my sister Jill. Jill not only was a graduate here, she played basketball and ran track, but her claim to fame at this high school was that she could sing. Now, don't nobody up here can sing. We can't break a note. But she could sing. And I came back, she was a little younger than I am. This was, I like to say it was an oops baby. She was 9 years younger. So I came back to see a Christmas pageant. And I'm sitting there not paying attention. You know how some of these pageants can go on and on and on. And then I hear this voice. And I picked my head up, and it's my sister Jill. And I was blown away. And so she sang in the various choirs, including the gospel choir here. And I was so proud that she found her gift. She played basketball and she ran track, but that wasn't her gift. Her gift was singing. And today she leads choirs in churches. She's absolutely phenomenal. And so now, Vern, you can come up and earn your keep. So Vernon is, again, we could not be closer. We've been away from each other for a while, but it was like, when we got on the phone, it was like yesterday. And we started telling the lies that we used to tell back then all over again. They just got bigger. So without much more, I will turn this over to Vernon, and I will come back afterwards.
Thank you, Cousin Bruce. Wow, I did not think I would be overcome by so much emotion being back here, but boy, I tell you, it's been a while. The last time that I stood before a group of people here at Struthers was in June of 1970, and at that time I was speaking to our graduating class during the commencement exercise. But I wasn't the valedictorian. We had a contest that year in our speech class, and if you wrote a good speech and it was chosen, you'd get the opportunity to speak in front of the folks who came to commencement. So the name of that speech, or the title, was "Where Will This Lead Us?" And needless to say, I didn't think it'd lead me back here. But the essence of that particular speech, as I recall, was that the future is uncertain. We don't know where we're going to end up. Be brave, don't be afraid of the future, and embrace your fears. And I would really like today to speak to the students, because you are at a point in your lives where you're going to begin to start to think about what you want to do for the rest of your lives. And this scholarship for minority students, it applies to all students when it comes to what you need to be thinking about, but particularly the minority students. Before I get into the qualifications and what we're looking for, I'd like to just take a moment to brag about our 1968 football team.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
No. Undefeated.
We weren't only undefeated, we were fifth in the state. And back then, they didn't have state playoffs. We had already beaten all the local big dogs like Ursuline and Mooney. And if we had had the opportunity back then to play schools like Cincinnati Moeller, Massillon, Canton McKinley, I have no doubt that we probably would have come out on top. As Bruce mentioned, there were 4 Murphys playing that year on that team, and we were cousins, but we were also like brothers. And it shows that you can have camaraderie with one another, and Art Turner also playing on that team and being one of the outstanding defensive players. He knows what I'm talking about. Excuse me just a second here. I'm just taken by emotion. I'm so sorry. 50 years ago, there was no smartphones, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no TikTok, there was no computers, and there was no Xboxes. And what we did have is one another. We had each other, and we didn't have much in the way of material goods. My family didn't have a car. There was no vacations. There was no Disney World. But we weren't poor. In fact, we were very rich in the sense that our parents had taught us the sense of pride, to believe in ourselves, to have confidence, and most importantly, that family matters. When you think about how this all started, it's Harold, my dad, Bruce's dad, Bill. From that, all of this evolved. Now, they had their disagreements at times, as all siblings do, but what they were in sync with is how to raise their families. And what they wanted was a better life, and it was our moms too. They wanted a better life for their kids. They wanted their kids to exceed whatever they had achieved. And Bruce mentioned perseverance and discipline. I can tell you that my dad, he started out going to school here playing football. At 15 years old, he was able to somehow get himself into the Army, and he traveled the world. My dad was, and I'm saying this lightly, a real disciplinarian.
I was scared.
In fact, it's kind of ironic that I ended up being an administrator in child welfare agencies, you know, those that go out and investigate. Because back then, I'm sure that one of the workers from my own agency would have been knocking on our front door. But I can tell you a little story about my dad. You know, when he came back home from the service, he worked at Sheet and Tube, and he was the brakeman, and a brakeman on the engines that pushed the boxcars into the open hearth, uncoupled them, and then they pushed the ingots into the blast furnace. He walked to work every day, over 2 miles. I can't even imagine how tired he was sometimes when he was done with his shift to walk back home. That's perseverance. He was a disciplinarian. He also wanted to have a better life for his children. He wanted to show us that we could go beyond anything that we could imagine. The idea of work ethic, I have a little bit of a cold and I'm sorry. The idea of work ethic is not so much a mystery, it's hard work. That's the meaning of work ethic. It's hard work or work hard. There's no other explanation for it. The time now for you in high school, and you know, especially for minority students, those of you who are here, 3 things. Dream big. Don't be afraid to embrace your fear. Don't be afraid to go out and to accomplish something that you didn't think you were able to accomplish. The other thing that you need to remember is to push through. That's a favorite phrase of my wife. She uses that with my daughter all the time when she may be feeling a little low motivated. She always tells her to push through. Because sometimes in life, that's what you need to do. You need to not try to make excuses about why you can't do something, but you have to absolutely push through. And also, when you're pushing through, it builds that determination and that character that you need, and the confidence that you also will need to have to succeed. And the third thing is, every day try to accomplish some type of goal. You know, you should never give up or give in to sacrificing whatever you set out and whatever you wanted to do. You have to really see it through. You know, the Murphy family contributed heavily to sports in this community, but it wasn't just sports, it was also academically. Several of the Murphys were also National Honor students, and as you saw in the bios, you know, the other aspect of the Murphy trait is leadership. And that brings me to the qualifications of what these candidates should have as they're applying for these scholarships. Number one, hardworking. Number two, a strong positive sense of yourself. And by that I mean, what defines you? A lot of times you're going to go into an interview and they're going to ask you, you know, who are you? Tell me who you are. A lot of people can't really put that into words. So you really need to think about what are your strong points? What makes you different than someone else? Also, the desire to achieve needs to be there. Accept whatever the goal is in front of you and accomplish it. When Bruce and I went to high school here, our student body, the minority student body, was less than 5%. If you were an African American, you either lived on the north side of Struthers or Nebo. Do they still call it Nebo? All right, all right. All right, Nebo. And we were proud, we were proud that, that we had a stake in this community. However, the north side folks and the Nebo folks were separated by the Mahoning River, railroad tracks, and Bridge Street. But, we still had a sense of togetherness. And I want to tell you that the Murphy family, as much as we feel we have given and contributed and will continue to do so, we're not perfect. We've been faced with many personal challenges, many unseen obstacles, unexpected obstacles, painful sacrifices, and the worst of all, the tragedies, the loss of our loved ones. They are gone, but their memories will always live within our hearts. We do not let these adversities stop us from accomplishing our goals. Ambition can take you a long way. So I say today that we're here to honor our brothers and our cousins who have passed because they exemplify what the Murphy Family Scholarships represent. And we're also here to remember our parents, Bill and Juanita, Harold and Dorothy, because they would be proud to know, because they were the catalyst behind all of this. They would be proud to know that the needle for success has been moved forward, the bar for success has been set higher, and there's a whole generation of Murphys that aren't here today who have succeeded and made great strides in their lives. There are Murphys that you are not seeing here today who have achieved great things, and there are Murphys who are destined to do great things. The scholarship is in the spirit of the Murphy legacy, and we're sure, Bruce and I know this, we're sure that that legacy is going to continue for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Vernon. I just rise to summarize. What is this investment? We're putting $15,000 into the Media Center to upgrade and make that Media Center as competitive for students as we can. Then we're doing $15,000, $1,000 scholarships for the next 15 years for a minority student who performs. Now, that's where we are today. We're proud to be able to bring this investment to this institution and to these students. God bless you and God keep you.
So to Vernon, yes, it is Nebo, and for us that were born and grew up there, we lived in Nebo, but then kind of Struthers was the second point. So we're very proud of living in Nebo and Center Street. The other thing, too, we appreciate the investment. We believe our digital media program is already at the tops in the area. If you watch the YSN events that we cover for basketball, we were the first to cover a bowling live event. And if you watch our students throughout this year, you'll be proud of our young people and how they present the games. At this point, I'd like to bring up our mayor, Catherine Saccone-Miller.
Hi, everybody. So I was supposed to just read this proclamation, but I am, as introduced earlier, Sammy's daughter, and if I don't mention his name with all this talk of the class of '68 undefeated football team, you could have my head. And I can tell you, I now obviously get introduced as mayor a lot, but the ultimate honor to me is being introduced as Sam Sircone's daughter. You said something to me a little bit earlier that your success was based on how you were raised, and I can tell you that that's most all of Struthers, especially me. A lot of Struthers people now are not only raised by their family, but raised by the school system, raised by principals, raised by families who care and who reach out. So we are very proud and very excited to accept this donation to the schools, and I'm going to read this proclamation. Whereas the City of Struthers recognizes the Murphy family for their generous contribution to support the educational efforts of the Struthers City Schools. Whereas the Murphy family is represented by Michelle, Jill, Vernon, and Bruce. Whereas the Murphy family is honoring Calvin, Ernest, Vince, and Philip, all who are Struthers graduates. Whereas also honoring the parents William, Harold, Juanita, and Dorothy Murphy. Whereas the Murphy family is supporting the Digital Media Center in Struthers City Schools. Whereas creating the Bruce and Michelle Murphy Minority Scholarship Fund. Therefore, I, Catherine Saccone-Miller, Sammy's daughter, Mayor of the City of Struthers, Ohio, on behalf of its citizens, wish to thank the Murphy family for their generous contribution and support of the Struthers City Schools. In testimony whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the Great Seal of the City of Struthers in celebration.
Oh, two. So, excuse me if I may take liberty. So you've heard about the Murphy family legacy. Sean, will you come here, please? I would like to give this to you as the next generation to remember and set a continuing standard. God bless you and God keep you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This time, Foundation President and Struthers Board Member Ron Shives.
Wow. Pretty emotional, huh? On behalf of the Struthers Foundation for Educational Excellence, we'd like to thank you for this very kind donation. And for the City of Struthers, the students, for the next 15 years, have positive and something to look forward to. But as I sat here and I listened to the speakers present, perseverance, discipline came out. Dream big, push through. And as I was sitting there being overwhelmed with emotion, I thought of something that is appropriate, I think, and it's unconditional love. And there's a saying in Struthers, once a wildcat, always a wildcat. And today represents that. Thank you, Murphy family.
So now we sign away our lives.
Yeah.
put in the kitties. It's a smile, don't frown. You already wrote the check.
This time we will have refreshments. We have punch, cake, coffee. Please feel free, students as well, to help yourself and spend some time to mingle with the Murphy family. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
We would once again like to thank and honor the entire Murphy family, especially for everything that they have done for us. We are incredibly grateful, and we want to inform you all that we are especially honored to what they have done for us. Once again, I'm Mickey Claret.
And I'm Peyton Shorthouse, and we hope you all have a great day, and we hope to see you all soon.